Welcome to Live, and today I want to talk about something critically important. I know it's Thanksgiving week. It's a time to gather around family. It's a time to have a good time. It's time to enjoy some good gratefulness around your accomplishments and your year. But there's something else that I want to talk about. It's an undercurrent that exists that is unspoken. Now, when I say unspoken, I'm really talking about an unspoken crisis that affects the C-suite. This is a crisis that nobody is willing to acknowledge, but I'm going to acknowledge it right now, and I'm going to lay it out clear and out front. That we know that you're successful. We know that you have achieved the highest levels of professionalism, that you knock out every goal, every metric, you deliver time and time again. Then when it comes to your success, nobody needs to ask how you're doing because you're doing great. You are winning at the game of life. And when I mean at the game of life, I'm talking about the game at work. You are where you want to be. But there's something that is unspoken that nobody talks about, that nobody asks about. Everybody sees it, but nobody says anything about it. They see the reality, but nobody opens their mouth about it. And what are they not opening their mouth about? They're not opening their mouth about your health. Nobody's asked you how you feeling physically. Nobody's asked you when's the last time you checked your blood pressure. Nobody's asked you when is the last time you've been to a doctor's appointment. Nobody has asked you, what was your last A1C? And yes, nobody has asked you, when the last time you got some rest and some sleep? See, this mindset around hustle culture really has dictated that the grind is what's great. That if I'm pulling 18-hour days, or if I have to grind through it and get 2 hours of sleep at night, that is rewarded because we see the fruits of that in your workplace. We see the fruits of that and how you deliver for the bottom line. But those things are a silent killer that's affecting you right now. Like when I say affecting you, everybody can look at you and know that you are physically not well. They see the weight. They see the redness in your eyes. They see how often you're running to the bathroom. They can see all of those things, but nobody says anything. Instead, we just celebrate and are happy that you're knocking the goals out of the park. We celebrate that you're achieving all of those metrics. We celebrate that we're winning. We're celebrating the news story that was written about you and all the success that you helped the company to achieve. They're talking about you on the earnings call for all of the things that you've done. You're being called out for all of the right reasons, but not called in for the most important reasons. So that's what I want to talk about today, that this is a crisis, a unspoken crisis that is affecting high achievers everywhere. And it's a crisis that you can't afford to ignore. It's a crisis that you shouldn't ignore. Now, before I tell you why you shouldn't ignore it, I'm going to be honest and transparent. Well, who I'm talking to is I'm talking to me, or at least the old me. See, I've been that person that was high achieving in the C-suite, doing all of these things great, doing all of these things well, but grossly overweight. Not at all regularly going to a doctor's appointment, not at all having the conversations that I need to have about my health, not at all tracking on a regular basis important health metrics that determine whether I'm going in the right direction or the wrong direction. Now, this is not about perfect health because I don't think there's a single one of us who can say we're in perfect health. I mean, we know what the ideal body weight is. We know what the ideal exercise routine. We know what the ideal nutrition and caloric count. We know all of these things. Knowledge is right there in front of us, but knowledge is not what's transferring into practice. So we can be honest, we know what health looks like, and we're not doing it because we love what hustle looks like more than we know what health looks like. Now, the reason why you're not addressing this crisis, I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why you're not addressing your crisis. 3 simple reasons. These are important reasons, and I want to make sure I lay them out. Then after I lay out those 3 reasons of why you're not doing it, I'm going to give you the truth about yourself, the truth about the reality where you are, but then I'm going to make sure that I give you a game plan. Give you 4 simple things that you can do to address the unspoken health crisis that's killing you. And the reason why you're not addressing this is because you think pain equals purpose. Like if you're exhausted, you think that's a badge of honor. If you got constant headaches, you think that means I'm grinding harder than everything else. You don't like to take days off. Nobody likes to take days off, especially if you know you got a lot to get done. But those desires to not take days off are the things that are holding you back, that are leading to this crisis that you soon will not be able to ignore. Because if you continue to ignore your body is going to ignore you. So you can't be focused on thinking that pain is purpose. So you got to be responsive as best you can. The second challenge is that instead of leading for longevity, you're leading for validation. That, we say all of the time as high achievers, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my mission. I'm doing this for my legacy. That's why we're grinding. We're grinding for the family. We're grinding for the mission. We're grinding for the legacy. But in reality is, if you grind yourself into a grave, then what is your family going to do? Who's going to carry on the mission? And what is your legacy going to look like? So you got to understand that just because you say you are doing it doesn't mean you're doing it right. So you got to not ignore the crisis. Now, the third reason why high achievers are ignoring this crisis, it's a real simple reason, is that you are quick to track the KPIs at work, but you're not quick to track the KPIs of wellness. Now, what do I mean track the KPIs? You don't make it a priority. You don't make it a priority to exercise, to drink water, to have any level of nutrition, to pay attention to anything, to say that I'm intentionally going to eat a salad or I want some vegetables. See, you can't treat wellness as a third-hand priority. It's got to be up there with the top priorities. So here's the truth that you really need to hear. And I'm going to say it as simple and plain. In that C-suite in which you're a leader right now, I want you to know something. You are replaceable. See, if you have a heart attack, stroke out, or for some by other means pass away, guess what? They'll find another leader to come in and take your role in the C-suite probably within 3 months. It's 3 to 6 months. I'll give it 3 to 6 months because you might be a little bit of a unicorn to replace, but not a perfect unicorn. But in that C-suite, in 6 months, they'll have somebody else doing your job. As a matter of fact, the week after you're gone, after your funeral, they literally will have somebody on an interim basis doing your job. So you are replaceable at work. But you know where you're not replaceable? You're not replaceable in your family. You're not replaceable at home. So you have to understand that this means you got to focus in on how you're going to be there for the long term. You can't just focus on a quarter. You need to focus on the next decade. See, those quarterly goals, you'll hit them. But what's your 10-year goals? Do you have a 10-year vision, a 10-year mental picture of the future that you want to create for yourself? Now, you got to do all of this because you cannot afford to let your body break down before your brand breaks through. So you want to break through and be the leader that everybody admires, to have a leadership brand that is of impact. But you can't do that if your body breaks down. So you got to figure out what you're going to do to turn this around. And so I want to spend a few minutes not lecturing you around what you should be doing, but give you a game plan of what you can do. Some things that I have done myself to improve my health, my mental and emotional health, my well-being. Again, as you know, I've said this before, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe work is life and life is work. And the most you should be trying to optimize is work-life harmony. How do you integrate the two? How do you do a little bit of both? So I'm going to give you, as best I can, a game plan that will help you. So here's the first thing, is that you have mental energy and you have physical energy. And you got both of them. So you know what you need to do with both of them? You need to treat them like business capital. See, if you have bottom line revenue in your budget, on your P&L, that you can spend at the end of the year, you want to invest that in good things. So here's what I'm telling you. Your mental energy, your physical energy, you want to treat them like business capital and invest them in the right things. Invest them in things that are going to lift you up, build you up, support you, replenish you, motivate you, inspire you, and give you the energy to take the next level. See, there's an ROI when you invest in your mental health. There's an ROI when you invest in your physical health. Now, what do I do to invest in my mental health and my physical health? Well, my mental health is that I am a creative. Now, when I say creative, I'm not an artist painting pictures, but I am a photographer. I'm not only a photographer, but I'm also a writer. So I reinvest in my mental health by taking time in the mornings and in the evenings to write things down, notes, ideas, thoughts. And then every Sunday, I put those thoughts together in something I call my Sunday reflections. And I write them down as a creative release around what's going on in my head. That is how I help myself, is that every week I write something. On the physical side, in addition to trying to go to the gym a couple days a week, I love to walk. Not walk for 20 minutes, but walk for 5 miles, 90 minutes. I try to do that. It helps my heart health, but it also allows me to be outside. Look at the trees, look at the birds, look at all of the things that I see on the sidewalk. It is how I replenish myself. And of course, you know my love for hip hop music and culture. I spend a whole lot of time listening to music that takes me back to when my life was simple, when it was fun, when I could have a good time, when I thought I was going to be a rapper or a dancer or a break boy. When I was going to do all of those things, the music was alive. And that's why I listen to classic hip hop and classic hip hop artists, because it takes me back to a time when life was simple, when it was fun. So you got to figure out how you're going to invest in your mental capital, in your physical capital. How you're going to use your mental and physical capital to replenish yourself. That's the first thing of what you can do. There's the second thing, and that's kind of leading into the first, is that you got to move your body. See, as a busy executive, there's no question that you could be sitting in front of a Zoom screen for 8 hours and not move. So you got to figure out how you get up. So like at my house, when I get up from my office desk, there's a bathroom right in the hallway, like 2 steps. But I walk to a secondary bathroom that's a little bit further away just to get a little bit more steps. Sometimes I'll get up, I'll walk outside, and I'll check the mail 3 times in a day. Now, I know what time the mailman comes. They usually come consistently, but sometimes I'll go just to check the box. Nothing's in there, but I got a little bit of extra steps in. I move my body. So you want to make sure you find ways to move your body. If you don't have a standing desk, you might want to employ something like that. But the point is just to be intentional around your movement. That's going to help your physical health. The third thing you need to do is, I kind of mentioned this around your KPIs. You got business KPIs, but do you have health KPIs? Do you have a sleep hygiene score? Like I wear an Oura ring right here on my finger. This Oura ring has now allowed me to track my sleep hygiene, which is I know whether I'm getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 hours of sleep at night. The ideal is more than 7. But sometimes as a busy executive, you can't get that. But the key is you should always get more than 6 hours of sleep. And if I don't get at least 6 hours of sleep, I get a bad score. But if I get 7 or 8, my sleep hygiene score could be in the 80s, 90s. That's how I know that I'm doing okay. The other thing is that you need to think about this. When's the last time you scheduled your own doctor's appointment? Have you actually been to the doctor in the last 6 months, in the last 12 months? If you haven't, you need to find a way to regularly go to the doctor. And every time you go to the doctor, they're going to give you some data: blood pressure, weight, oxygen level, all of those things. You need to be tracking those. You need to be able to see what is your blood pressure over time. And if you got high blood pressure, the last thing you need to do is be waiting 6 months before you go back to the doctor to check it. You might want to check it every day. You might want to check it at least once a week, or have some tool to assess your physical health. Build yourself a mental dashboard around your physical health so you can track it over time. And most importantly, if you need some milestone appointments like a colonoscopy, a PSA, or a heart cath, whatever it is, you want to make sure you do those things the way that you need to do them, how you need to do them, and when they need to be done. You got to track your wellness KPIs: sleep, blood pressure, blood sugar, oxygen levels, all of those things that you need to be tracking. Now, here's the last thing you should do that I'm going to encourage you to do, is to not focus on the hustle, but focus on your longevity. Now, the reason why I say don't focus on your hustle, but focus on your longevity, I'll give it to you this way. In 6 months from now, do you want us at your funeral admiring you for the life that you lived? Or do you want to be here 10 years from now when your granddaughter is being christened? You got to decide. So you got to focus on the longevity and not the hustle. Again, this is not about perfection, because there's none of us that are perfect. God knows there's things that I need to be doing differently with my health. But today, as I talk to you, I'm a lot better than I was 5 years ago when I was 40 pounds overweight, high blood sugar, never really had high blood pressure, but I wasn't at all a picture that I wanted to see of myself. Today, I'm much better. Not perfect, but better. And that's what I want you to understand, that this is not about perfection. This is about progress. And you have to address the crisis that nobody's talking about. Because if you continue to ignore it, then it may not be a you for us to even have this conversation with a year from now. So I want to thank you for watching this episode of Leadership Live. I'll see you next week. Everybody have a fantastic day.